Hi everybody, Jonathan here, and we're going to take a look at a fan requested video today. I had a request come in recently to explore the combat aspects of Axis and Allies 1914. This came from someone who is a seasoned player of Axis and Allies, but is more of a World War II, 1942 second edition, more specifically they mentioned, player. And there are some differences in terms of combat in this game that they wanted to know more about, and so I'd like to illustrate those in this video. So I have a couple different scenarios set up on this board. We're going to go through each one at a time. The first one, we're going to be looking at Poland and Ukraine over here. And we're going to assume that it is Austria's turn. Austria has its force in Poland. It's going to attack Ukraine. So we'll come in here a little further. We see that Russia has 2 infantry and artillery and a fighter defending. Austria has 4 infantry, 2 artillery, and a fighter to attack with. So in this game, first of all, since both sides have a fighter, we need to establish who has air supremacy. So before any ground forces engage, our 2 fighters, are going to go head to head. They're just flying over the battlefield. So fighters attack and defend at a 2. So what this means is that both sides are just going to keep rolling back and forth. They're 1 unit until somebody scores a hit, and you could end up either side might survive, or both sides might destroy each other. So if Austria rolls a 2, Russia rolls to defend, and it rolls a 2 as well. Both sides are destroyed. Neither side gets air supremacy. But for the sake of argument, we're going to say that the Austrian fighter gets destroyed. So it's removed from combat, and now we have regular land combat. So what's that going to look like? So on attack, infantry that are supported by artillery attack at a 3. Normally infantry attack at a 2. So if you're familiar with Axis and Allies 1942, you know that in that game, infantry attack at a 1 unless they're supported by artillery, then they attack at a 2. It's the exact same concept, except in this game, infantry go from a 2 to a 3. So we have 2 artillery that attack at a 3, 2 infantry that are supported by artillery that also attack at a 3, so 4 units attacking at a 3 or less, and then 2 unsupported infantry that are going to attack at a 2 or less. Now what's going on the Russian side of things? Normally, infantry and artillery all defend at 3s. However, in this case, it is the defenders who have air supremacy, which means that artillery... Oh, and I should have mentioned this when I was talking about the Austrians. So, just like infantry supported by artillery gets a boost, artillery supported by air power, so with air supremacy, artillery gets a boost. So in this case, we have 2 infantry defending at a 3 like normal. Defending infantry don't get a bonus from supported artillery, so 2 infantry defending at a 3. 1 artillery that would defend at a 3, however, they have air supremacy, so that artillery is actually going to defend at a 4, and then the fighter that continues to be involved in combat. Had the Russians lost their fighter, the Austrians would have had 2 artillery attacking at a 4, 2 infantry supported by artillery attacking at a 3, and 2 unsupported infantry attacking at a 2. So that is what the setup would look like for that battle. Alright, let's move on to the next one. So we're going to explore naval or amphibious assault combat, rather. So in this case, a couple things to keep in mind. These units here need to be picked up by those transports because they want to attack Livonia up here, and they can't get there by land. There's also there is no Russian Navy here to stop us, but there is this is mined by the Russians here. So we'll have to do we'll have a couple things that we need to take care of. So these units are all going to move up here this fleet's going to move over there. Now, we would roll for our sea mines, and we'll say that battleship does not get hit, but let me zoom out a little bit. But one of these transports gets hit, which means that two of these units that were on those transports are not able to land now, and they're just destroyed. Now, this fighter did not load up on the transports. Fighters get 2 movement, unlike those land units, and so it can go 1 to Poland, 1 to Livonia, and unlike other versions of Axis and Allies, fighters do not have to fly into combat and then fly out to land somewhere in this game. So just to clarify that point. Now, there was no naval combat, which means that battleship gets a coastal bombardment, and in this game, casualties from coastal bombardments do get a chance to fire back. So we'd roll for that. Let's say it scores a hit. The Russians are still going to have all 3 units to defend with on the first turn. When they remove their casualties at the end of combat round 1, that's when they'll remove that casualty from the coastal bombardment. One other thing in this game, for amphibious assaults, defending artillery gets a chance to fire at a 3 or less roll any units that are coming on the shore from the transport. So in this case, Russia has 1 artillery, so it would get 1 round, basically 1 roll for that artillery against the landing Germans. And unlike the coastal bombardment, the casualty from that hit gets removed immediately. So having artillery defend coastal territories is very powerful in this game. That really comes into play, especially, we're not going to talk about it in this video, but it's too much, but if you're defending the Ottoman Empire, you've got this huge coastline, a couple territories that have decent production, especially Constantinople has 6. Having a couple artillery there is going to have a big impact on your ability to defend. So let's say, for the sake of argument, that the defending artillery missed. So in this case, we have an artillery. We have air supremacy because the Germans do, because the Russians have no plane, so we don't have to determine it. The Germans just get it. So the Germans have an artillery attacking at a 4, an infantry supported by artillery attacking at a 3, and then the fighter attacking at a 2, versus 3 Russian units that are all defending at a 3. So that's what we have going on up there. Now, the last scenario that I wanted to take a look at is over here, some naval combat, and certainly there are plenty of other scenarios you might run into. We're not going to go over all of them in this video, but here are 3 big ones. So for our last one, we're going to deal strictly with naval combat, and there aren't going to be any sea mines. It's going to be England, and they're going to be attacking those German subs. So England's got 2 battleships. It's going to come over here to Sea Zone 7 on its turn and attack. Now, the British have a clear advantage in this, not only because battleships attack at a 4 and subs at a 2, or subs rather defend, I believe it's at a 2 in this game. Actually, it might even be a 1. I'd have to check. In any case, the battleships have a huge advantage here, and battleships can take multiple hits. They have to be hit twice to be sunk. So, if I'm the Germans, this is not a battle that I want to have. I'm going to want to submerge my subs. And so, England is going to roll their attack, and then if I choose to, which I would in this situation, to submerge my subs, instead of rolling my defense roll, I can submerge them at that time. So let's say that that happens. This move occurs. The British roll, they hit once, and now I want to submerge. Well, I have to allocate one of those hits first. So one of my subs is going to be destroyed, even though all I ever wanted to do was submerge and get out of this battle. I have to take that first round of punishment. And then instead of my remaining sub firing back, it submerges, and now the British are not able to destroy it. And on my turn, I could flee or try and do, maybe if I have another fleet, I can try and join it up with them. Maybe I'll run down to the Mediterranean. Who knows? Maybe the Americans have a fleet, and I'll try and sneak over here and take out a couple transports or something like that. But this is not a battle that I want if I'm the Germans, and so even if I were to stand my ground, let's say that they didn't hit either of my ships in the first round, and I say, well, I'm going to stand my ground, and I fire back, and maybe I do exceptionally well, and I hit both of them. So both their battleships absorb the hits. Now I still have two battleships attacking my two subs. They still have a huge advantage. And unless things go ridiculously in my favor again, chances are I'm probably going to end up, best case scenario, I'll take out one of those battleships that loses my two subs. Now, as you look at things more strategically, maybe taking out one British battleship is going to be worth it. Probably not, but if, let's say, your navy up here, as the Germans, is pretty comparable to what they have, and the loss of one British battleship means that you're able to break out and cause them lots of problems, maybe you would do that, be willing to sacrifice the subs. But this battle just on its own is probably not one that you're going to want to fight. You're going to want to submerge and try and get away. But you do have to take that first hit if the, or really, you have to take whatever casualties the British cause on you in their initial attack before you can submerge and get away. So I hope this video is helpful, especially for those of you maybe new to 1914, whether you are new to Axis and Allies overall, or if you have played World War II variant and you want to know how combat in this version is different. I would also recommend, I posted a video a while back about movement with tournament rules and how you can reinforce versus engaging in attack and that sort of thing. I definitely, if you want to learn more, recommend watching that video, because there are some aspects of that not directly related to combat roles, but that are very much going to come into play when you're thinking about how to position your units so that you can maximize your power in these different battles throughout the board. So I definitely recommend that. And if you guys have any other requests for videos, I'll see what I can do about integrating them along with any ideas that I have. We have quite a few videos up at this point looking at strategy overall, looking at different countries, looking at a few different versions of Axis and Allies. The two versions that I don't really have are the anniversary edition, because that's impossible to find these days for a price that's not hundreds of dollars, and then 1940 Global. So that is composed of both 1940 Europe and 1940 Pacific. However, there are several YouTubers out that have made quite a few quality videos on those. Just a few by name. General Hand Grenade, Sired Blood is a new personality that I've subscribed to. He makes some good videos. Oh, and also Young Grasshopper. His channel is called The Cliffside Bunker. And he recently, well, his videos are mostly focused on, of course, 1940 Global, but he also shared a deeply personal testimonial video about how his life has changed and how he has come to believe in God and join the ranks of us Christians. So if you have any interest in that, even if religion is not your thing, I found it to be a very powerful video. I strongly recommend that you take a look at that. I know it isn't Axis and Allies focused, but there's more to life than just Axis and Allies, so definitely take a look at that. because I think that you all enjoy it. I know that I did. And I hope you all have a great weekend.